calling my wife and telling her all of that. Can you euthanize it because we don't want to deal with it? We can't tell what's wrong with your pet unless we run diagnostics. We're not in it for the money. Hi guys, I'm Alicia. I'm a fourth year veterinary student who's 1 week away from graduating and becoming a full-time real life veterinarian and achieving my dream that I've had since I was probably like 4 years old. Today I want to tell you my top 5 icks in veterinary medicine. For those of you who don't know what an ick is, it's basically something that makes you cringe or one of your least favorite parts of your field that you're in. So let's just start right into it. Number 5 is when people bring their pets into the clinic but don't actually know anything about them. So it normally goes something like this, with me role-playing the veterinarian or the vet tech. Hey, so I see that we haven't seen your dog before. Like, what brings you in? What things do you need? Oh, I don't know. Just like whatever the dog needs. Okay, great. So we'll just start with like a history, get some like questions answered. What food do you feed your dog? I don't know, just like dog food. Okay, great. Like, do you know how much you feed your dog every day? Even like a rough estimate? No, I don't know. Okay, great. Is your dog on any like heartworm, flea tick preventative or any other medications? Or does your dog have any other, illnesses that we need to know about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any of that. Okay, well, I see that you don't have any vaccine records, but, are you interested in like a leptospirosis vaccine? How about like Bordetella, flu? Like, kind of what are you looking for today? I don't know. I mean, you could call my wife maybe. She might know. Okay. Cool. It normally goes something like that. And the reason it's frustrating is we just want to care for your pet. But when you don't know what your pet, eats or what medicines it takes or what preventative, has every month or what vaccines it needs, it's really hard for us to do our job. In addition to this is sometimes we'll get clients who we'll go through all of this long spiel explaining everything, explaining, what's going to happen today, all the vaccines, or maybe a diagnosis and what all that means. And they wait till the very end and they go, do you mind just like calling my wife and telling her all of that? And we are more than happy in most clinics that I've worked at to call someone else and explain this all, but waiting till the very end after we've already explained everything to you and then asking us to explain it to your wife, and it's normally the wife that, we need to call after, is a little bit frustrating. So that's number 5 ick. I appreciate that you're coming in and bringing the dog in, and we will get everything done. It's just a little bit frustrating. Number 4 ick in veterinary medicine is not wanting to run any diagnostics. We get a lot of people who come in and they say, hey, my dog has XYZ symptoms. And we go, okay, cool. We can run XYZ diagnostics, whether that be a blood test, an x-ray, an ear cytology, a skin scrape, whatever it may be. And they just go, no, thank you. We'll just take the medication. I get it. Because diagnostics are expensive. In this day and age, like, money is tight. I get it. And people don't want to spend that money. I don't think that clients always know that we can't tell what's wrong with your pet unless we run diagnostics. And so we can't just wave a magic wand and figure out what's wrong with your animal. We have to run tests, and then from those tests, we can prescribe medications. But I find that a lot of clients get really upset when we say that because they feel like we're wasting their money. And I totally get it. Vet med is expensive. Human med is expensive. We just happen to have insurance for human med. It's sometimes a tough barrier when people don't want to do anything, but they want to treat their pet. And so sometimes we just have to, give it our best guess and treat for what we think the doggo has or the cat has. But it's definitely not ideal, and don't recommend going in and not wanting diagnostics. I promise we're not just running tests for the sake of running tests. Number 3 ick, going along the kind of theme of money, is when clients say things like, oh, you're just in this for the money. Or if you actually cared about animals, you wouldn't charge so much, or you would do this service for free. At the end of the day, almost every single veterinarian that I have ever met has such a huge heart and a huge passion for this field and for caring for animals. I don't know a single veterinarian that just is in it for the money. Honestly, vets don't make that much money. We make a really good salary. I think now most of the jobs that I was looking at offer anywhere from like $100,000 to $120,000 a year plus commission. But at the end of the day, if you compare that salary to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that people are graduating veterinary school with, it's not a lot. And most veterinarians end up working more than their 40 hours a week. So again, that just keeps, detracting from the salary. And if you compare compare it to human medicine, we're making a fraction of what human doctors make. And I don't necessarily think that we should make the same amount as human doctors. I think that, most of them go through residency and fellowship and internships, and so they deserve to be making more. I think that veterinarians deserve to be making more than we are, and I think that accusing veterinarians of just being in it for the money is a really silly thing to say, because we're not in it for the money. We're in it for every other reason. A lot of times veterinarians will provide services for free out of their own pocket because we just want to see the animals get better. A lot of times veterinarians will take in animals from the streets that are strays and provide services to them out of pocket, out of the goodness of their heart. So that's a really tough one. That's a very cringe thing to say, and I think it's just shows a lack of understanding of this profession, because I've never really met a vet who's in it for the money. It's a long, tough journey to become a veterinarian, and there are easier ways to make more money, so I don't think that that's the case for vets. Number 2 ick in veterinary medicine is a really sad one. It's when people ask for convenience euthanasia. So they bring their pet in who's otherwise pretty healthy, except for maybe a few behavioral things, like maybe their cat is urinating outside the litter box. We've had someone bring in a cat because it got too fat and it could no longer play with the owner and the owner's kids, so they were just bored of it. We've had dogs that are just a little too destructive but otherwise very healthy, and the owners bring them in and just say, can you euthanize it because we don't want to deal with it. Asking for convenience euthanasia is just such an ick. Like, an ick is such a nice word for it. It is such a hard thing because it puts such pressure on the veterinarian, because we have to really balance our ethics and, what's best for the dog or the cat. And when you bring in an otherwise healthy animal, it is a really unfortunate situation because we have to figure out how to provide care for that animal, because we know if we don't do the convenience euthanasia and send it back home with you, will you just go find someone else? So then it kind of puts the burden on the veterinarian to reach out to, shelters, or reach out to rescues, or reach out to people who are working in the vet clinic and say, will someone take in this animal? In the case that we had of the cat that was it got too overweight and the owner just wanted to euthanize it, one of the technicians I was working with actually adopted the animal, put it on a weight loss journey. The cat lost 6 or 7 pounds and got to it was still overweight, but it got to a better weight and was able to be fully adopted to a family that loved it and got to play with it. And it's always just such a sad day when someone wants to just euthanize their animal. There's so many other avenues that you can go through. And I'm not shaming people who euthanize their animals for, health reasons or even severe behavioral reasons. It's such a spectrum, but when an animal is otherwise healthy and you are opting for euthanasia as an easy way out of an animal that you committed to, that's when it gets really hard. And it is such an emotional burden to put on veterinarians and veterinary staff and everyone involved. And number 1, kind of along the same lines of, euthanasia, is when people say, oh, I could never be a veterinarian because I love animals too much. I could never put them down. It's a really tough thing to say to someone, because what you're implying is that veterinarians don't love animals. In fact, we love animals so much that we're willing to put ourselves through emotional distress and put animals down so that we can ease their suffering and pain. At the end of the day, euthanasia is one of the most precious things in my mind that veterinarians can do. It is a privilege, it is an honor to be able to take a suffering animal and let it cross over the rainbow bridge in a painless and kind way. We let animals die with dignity in vet med, and I sometimes wish that, human med was different on that front, because I've had a lot of elderly people in my life who have suffered towards the end. And you saying, oh, you love animals too much, you could never do that. Well, I love animals too. Every veterinarian I've ever met loves animals with every ounce of their being. We devote our entire lives to them. We're not euthanizing animals because we hate them. We're trying to provide peace and comfort in their final hours and their final moments, trying to let them pass with dignity in a pain-free environment. So those are some of my icks of things that people say and do in vet med, and there's so many more. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comments if you've ever worked in vet med and have experienced any of these, or what other things people say to you that make you cringe. As always, follow, subscribe, and I can't wait to just bring more vet content to you. Let me know what else you want to hear from me. I'm so excited for this journey. Have a great day.